What are we talking about again?
Talking about creationism or
No.
the 7 days.
Was the earth created in 7 24-hour days?
Wrong.
Okay, why?
I just think that is a scientific reading into a very old Jewish story. And what Christians tend to do is to look to the Bible and use it view it as a science book instead of, what it is. It doesn't.
What it is? What is it, babe?
It's a compilation of stories of how they interpreted that it happened, not how it happened.
For the creation?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
For,
didn't mean
and for this,
the Bible.
when you start imposing, hours and days to something that is so huge that God did, it tends to categorize it and make it a scientific document, which it's not. It's not how it happened. It's that it happened. That's always helped me.
So what you believe is that God did create everything, that there was nothing besides God, and that God created it, and that the time element is not as important, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So what do you think, Josh?
I was just thinking of Moses, who most people believe wrote Genesis, or that's the common thought.
That's
one
thought.
Does it
Well, it's in the Bible.
Does it? No, if you believe the Bible.
Yeah. Well, see, that's the problem.
But does it say when he got that knowledge from God?
Oh gosh, Josh, I can't believe we're going down that.
I was just thinking about it. I was like, well, when did he get that story from God?
Okay, well, a lot of people believe that. Some people believe that Moses wrote the
first 5 books.
First 5 books of the Bible, called the Torah: Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. Others believe that it's a compilation of many different stories put together, and given the title of Moses having written them as an honor, but not that Moses had time to write when he was leading all those people, or trying to lead them, in the desert.
So more like oral history.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
it was an honor given.
If you read Genesis 1 and 2, you can tell. I remember reading this and going, wait, are they just repeating themselves again? Because you've got God created and then you've got the next story that talks about Adam and Eve. It was very confusing.
Well, and like the 2 different creation stories between Genesis 1 and 2.
Yes. So, and when I went to seminary and they said, oh, these were 2 different traditions, oral traditions brought together, I'm like, oh, that makes sense. The important thing meaning that God created the heavens and the earth.
That's the point.
That's the point, because God is not in time. And what's the passage that talks about, for in God there's no...
Well, 1,000 years?
Yes!
Okay.
That's it. Say it, Knox. I can't...
1,000 years is but a day to God, and a day is 1,000 years. Something like that.
Yeah.
First or Second Peter?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Okay.
We need like a fact checker to like look up verses for us.
Yeah.
But yes, that God does not view time the way we do. And so for me, the earth is much, much older than those who believe it's only 6,000 years old.
And that brings in the value and the respect for science too.
Right.
Yes.
It's not afraid of the scientific research that has gone into the geology and how the earth was formed. Christians affirm science. They don't reject it. And when you start looking at the 24-hour days, that's a rejection in a sense. That's the road you're taking, that science really doesn't inform how the earth was made and how old it is. And that's so important to affirm.
And the fact that God could start with nothing And then look at us today. That to me is even more of a miracle. God has done that, and where we are today, and that we're kind of screwing up, messing up.
I was
the
like, well,
planet.
look where we're at today.
Yeah, I know. Well,
We're doing so good.
We certainly haven't been good caretakers of the gift that God is giving us.
I did
at
like
all.
Knox, I did like your bringing in science, because I was probably just out of high school and was talking with my cousin, and he was saying that his biggest struggle with believing in God was dinosaurs, because if dinosaurs are real, which he knows they are, then God placed them there as a
Hoax.
a hoax, or a white rabbit or something like that, just to send us down a hole. And so that was his biggest struggle with believing in God was dinosaurs. And so I think it is really important for us as Christians to let that be known, that it's
And it's just, if I can interrupt,
Yeah.
it's especially important for kids that are raised in the church and they go off to college.
Yeah.
And they start discovering these things that are scientific, and they're learning and they're being taught, and they feel like they're forced to choose one or over the other.
Right.
And many times they reject the Bible and go with the scientific, because the scientific is so obvious. But the point is, you don't have to reject the Bible based on science. You affirm both. The Bible is not a science book, and it tells us that it happened, not how, and that we can put those two together.
The Bible is the story about God's
people.
love for humankind and the people of God following God, and then the gift of Jesus. It just excites me when there's new scientific stuff discovered. I don't understand it.
It gives glory to
all.
God.
That and to see how the same stuff that is in the earth is in other planets. Why would God that's cool.
It's cool.
Yeah,
just-
it's a mystery.
It's a mystery, and I think it's really cool.
Yeah.
So study the Word and learn your science.
Good advice.
Because it's cool. God is just, you go to different places and you see all the different kinds of animals and plants, and you're like, wow, God. Amazing.
Creation's awesome.
It is. God's creation is awesome.
Yeah.
And let's take good care of it, because we're not doing a very good job of that.